A few months ago, in-update ng Mitsubishi yung best-selling sedan nila, itong Mirage G4. Na ito specifically ay GLS, so it's the top-of-the-line version. So how does the new version feel like? Siyempre, pinag-usapan namin kung ano yung differences ng 2019 model sa 2022 model, pero mas in-depth natin titignan itong 2022 model and mas i-explore natin yung features niya at yung impressions namin sa modelong ito. So from the outside at least, malaking difference between the 2019 model and itong 2022 model. Itong buong harap na to, halos pinalitan lahat. So yung headlights mo, mas dynamic, mas malaki, mas mahaba. Tapos yung grille niya, pinattern sa Expander tsaka sa Montero Sport. Tawag na Mitsubishi dito, yung dynamic shield look. Now, you're going to expect to see this look on other future Mitsubishi models as well. Pati yung hood, pinalitan nila. Dati may dalawang crease sa hood, ngayon isa na lang. At pati fender, binago din para magkasya tong bagong headlight. From the front, all in all, mas sharp, mas aggressive tignan tong 2022 model na to. Pero ano mas gusto niyong look, yung 2019 o itong 2022? Let us know in the comments below. Now, pupunta tayo dito sa gilid, halos wala namang binago. I mean, it's the same familiar shape we've been seeing since 2013. The doors are the same, yung quarter panel pareho pa rin. Pero syempre mapapansin nyo, bago din yung rims niya. So that's all new for 2022. And if you'll notice the rear bumper, medyo mas extended siya. All in all, yung adjustments na ginawa ng Mitsubishi dito, humaba yung dimensions niya by a few millimeters lang naman. Pero it's more than enough for you to notice na it's a slightly longer car. Pero that doesn't mean lumuwag siya sa loob. It's still the same car inside, and pareho pa rin yung layo ng wheels niya or the wheelbase and stuff like that. So all in all, yung impressions natin dito, it's got a fresh face, and the back end, medyo bumata yung itsura. Pero ito nga, tong gitnang section na to, same shape, we're all familiar with this look. For some people, that's a good thing para, you know, at least may familiarity sila. But for other people, you know, sana may onti pang binago, mga ganon. Pero kung mas marami pang binago si Mitsubishi dito, ibig sabihin nun, gagawin na nilang all-new model to. Remember, the Mirage first came out in 2013. Mag-8 years na siya in production. So, Mitsubishi can only do so much to freshen it up. So, yung likod, very familiar look, except for the addition of yung reflectors dito sa corner ng bumpers at tong diffuser na to. Yung sa 2019 version, medyo mas smooth yung lower application dito. One thing to note, sa Philippine version, naka-bulb type taillight pa rin tayo. Pero yung foreign market version, naka-LED na. So, siguro down the line, magkakaroon din ng LED taillights yon, and syempre banibagong price adjustment din yan. Although, depende yan sa decision ni Mitsubishi. Another thing to note is, renilocate yung reverse camera. So, dati dito siya, ngayon nilipat na siya sa gitna. All in all, as I mentioned, very familiar look, slightly fresher look, but hindi mo madedenay yung age ng kotse. Medyo matanda na siya. Pero mabenta pa rin ng Mirage G4. So hindi rin dramatic yung changes na ginawa ng Mitsubishi para maka-attract ng mas marami pang customers. Sa makina naman, walang binago. It's a carryover from the previous pre-facelift model. So this is a 1.2-liter engine with about 78 horsepower and 100 Newton meters of torque. Na kung nakadrive kayo ng Mirage dati, performance should feel the same, it should feel similar, pati yung transmission pareho pa rin. It's a CVT or continuously variable transmission. So itong GLS na to, CVT only siya. Dati kasi pwede kang makakuha ng GLS with a manual transmission, ngayon hindi na. So kung gusto mo ng manual na Mirage G4, kailangan mo kunin yung entry-level model, yung GLX. So pagdating naman sa interior, well, hindi malaki yung pinagbago niya. You do have a new instrument cluster, medyo iba na yung font nung numbers niya, at parang may carbon fiber effect kuno yung cluster din mismo. Although yung isang panel dito para sa instrument cluster pareho pa rin from before, so nandun lahat ng warning lights, yung eco light button mo, etc. Ang pinalitan dito, itong parte ng manibela. So kung galing ka sa pre-facelift na model na GLS, dati isang bilog lang to dito. Ngayon meron ka pang buttons sa baba. Kasi mula ngayon, meron ng hands-free telephone function tong 2022 Mirage. That's something you don't get in the pre-facelift model, and it's something to consider kung naghahanap ka ng medyo high-tech na subcompact sedan. As for the design, well, it's been the same since 2013, so no dramatic changes. Kung napansin nyo nga lang, single tone na yung interior. Well, may gray ka at itim, pero dati kasi meron kang tan na pattern banda dito sa baba. Kung mapapansin nyo din, kung matalas mata nyo, tinanggal yung isang lalagyanan dito. Dati dalawa yan, so ngayon isa na lang. Tsaka nilipat nila yung lalagyan ng USB port dito, dati dito na sa square na to. So when it comes to space naman, well, it's a subcompact car, so hindi siya yung wow na luwag. But for its size, it's not bad. Footroom is decent here in front and even at the back, considering nga yung size niya. Siyempre kung matangkad yung nasa harap, masisikip yung nasa likod. Now for small families, it's not so bad, pero kung wari matatangkad yung mga kasama nyo sa likod or madalas kayo may kasamang matangkad sa likod, siguro mag-consider kayo ng mas malaking kotse, no? Pero yun nga, kung daily lang, usually kung ikaw lang yung pasahero, this isn't such a bad place to be in. So yes, there is hard plastic everywhere, but that's expected sa segment na to. Ang hindi ka naman mag-expect ng soft touch materials. So for its segment, medyo par for the course yung mga gamit na materials. And kung nanggaling kayo sa pre-facelift na Mirage, everything should feel the same. Yung hawak mo dito, pati nga tong climate control panel, pareho pa rin eh. So again, kung familiar kayo sa itsura ng pre-facelift na Mirage, this should all feel very familiar to you by now. Pero one of the biggest upgrades dito sa 2022 Mirage, itong addition of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So hindi mo na kailangan ilabas yung cellphone mo, kung magwe-Waze ka or kung magpapalit ka ng music, hindi mo kailangan mag-connect sa Bluetooth na. Diretsong saksak na lalabas kung ano man yung nasa screen mo sa phone, yun din yung lalabas dito. So it's safer to use, it's easier to use, di mo na kailangan yung ma-connect na ganyan. For some people, kung galing kayo sa older Mirage, this upgrade should be worth it. Lalo na yung mga kumuha ng mga 2013, 2014, sulit na sulit tong upgrade na to. So we're out on the road with the 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage. Now, marami na akong na-try na Mirage over the years, and una kong na-try yun nung first launch year niya, which was 2013, nung hatchback pa siya. And first impressions, nung time na yun, it actually rode pretty well. Magaan siya dalhin. I mean, for the price at the time, it wasn't so bad. It was actually fairly decent. And then when the G4 came out, mas naging enticing kasi mahilig sa sedan ang Pinoy. But 8 years have passed since lumabas tong modelo na to. Yes, bago yung skin sa labas, bago headlight, bumper, hood, etc. Pero yung driving experience, ganun pa rin ba? Okay. Over the years, medyo mas naging firm yung ride ng Mirage G4. Nung unang release niya, medyo malambot eh. But this newer version, there's a hint of firmness sa ride. So, hindi ko sinasabing matagtag yung Mirage. Medyo komportable pa rin naman. Pero kung galing ka sa mga first batch na modelo, yun, medyo mapapansin mo siya. So medyo mas naging firm ng suspension, although not by so much, no. It doesn't really affect comfort unless sobrang sensitive talaga ng likod nyo. Otherwise, most people might not even notice the change sa ride. Iba na yung gulong yan, naka-Michelin na gulong to, yung mga dati na mga naka-Yokohama. So that could also be a factor din, ano. So now we're taking the Mirage on a slightly faster road, ano. We're along Katipunan Avenue. Ito, mas open yung road, and let's see how it does. So performance, again, it's a 1.2 liter, hindi siya sports car or anything, mga 78 horsepower, 100 Newton meter nga as mentioned kanina. And for some people, well, they might find it a little bit in, but for those who just need something to get them from point A to B, it's totally fine, ano. One thing to take note of, naka-CVT siya, so it takes a while bago sumipa yung power because that's the nature of nung transmission na to, no? But that doesn't mean na sobrang underpowered siya. Again, some people might find it sakto lang. If people are looking for something more powerful, there are other options out there. Of course, yung trade-off niyan, because it has such a small engine, 1.2 liter nga as mentioned, tsaka 3-cylinder lang, bawing-bawi ka sa fuel economy. We're cruising right now, we're doing about 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, no? And according sa trip computer, we're doing around 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So, give or take, that's about 13 kilometers per liter pag light driving. Pag even lighter driving, minsan pumapalo pa ng 15 kilometers per liter yan. At kung napakagaan ng paa mo at magaling ka magtipid sa gasolina, lalo na kailangan na yung skill na yun ngayon, minsan naabot pa ng mga 20 plus kilometers per liter yan, ano? So, no, it doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the performance, pero kung sa tipid ang labanan, pwede mo i-consider tong Mirage G4. So, what about handling? Na syempre, hindi naman designed for high performance driving tong Mirage. I mean, the small engine pa lang, yun na yung clue mo na hindi siya pang karera or anything eh. Pero handling, despite the firmer suspension or firmer feeling suspension, it feels the same. It feels like the Mirage na drive ko way back so many years ago. And for some people, you know, maybe they were expecting more, but for other people na first time bibili ng Mirage, it's totally fine. And yun nga, it's easy to maneuver, magaan yung steering. The brakes, sabihin na nating medyo typical Mitsubishi, no? Makaka-relate yung mga naka-Mitsubishi dito. Yung unang apak mo, parang walang nangyayari. Tapos eventually, padiin yung paa mo. Tapos yun, kakagat na siya. So, ganun din yung preno netong bagong Mirage. And it's even the same with the older Mirage, no? And there's another thing to note, it's the air conditioning. Hindi ko alam, sobrang init lang talaga siguro ngayon, tsaka walang tintong unit na to. And it's not bad, but hindi siya yung super lamig, ano. So since halos similar yung driving experience niya, the feel, and in some ways even the ride, the performance, ganyan, worth it ba to upgrade to this 2022 Mirage if you're coming from the pre-facelift version? Depende yan kung anong hinahanap mo sa kotse. Couple of things. So for example, you get a 2013 model, no? It's a little more aged, it's a little older or a lot older in some ways. So this Mirage, tong GLS na to, starts at 899,000 pesos or almost 900,000 pesos. And for some people, medyo nakakagulat yun kasi kung naalala nyo, ang Mirage dati started ng mga 600,000 or even less pa for the entry-level models, no? So, in 8 years, medyo malaki na yung tinalo ng presyo. Of course, this is not the only variant available. May GLX manual pa at may GLX CVT. Now, this is the top of the line GLS CVT. And that explains the price of this model. The GLX CVT starts at around 800,000 peso range, no? And for some people, baka mas kontento na sila doon and they're not that willing to shell out that much extra money for this GLS. Although, if you want even more things, more standard features in your Mirage, then go ahead, buy this model. But are there enough changes made to this model na masasabi mong worth it mag-upgrade from the pre-facelift model? Depende yan which model year you got, no? So if you got the earlier batch, medyo luma na yung equipment, yung infotainment screen mo, yung audio system mo, ganyan. Maybe there's more wear and tear. Well, there's definitely more wear and tear, mga ganun. So we can say na it's worth upgrading to if you're coming from the older batch of Mirage models. Pero kung gagaling ka sa 2019 na modelo or yung right before this facelift, depende yan sa'yo. Kung gusto mo talaga yung itsura netong bago, by all means, go for it, no? Paano naman ang reliability, no? Of course, hindi natin malalaman kung na-apply yung improvements with this model kasi syempre, brand new pa lang to. Wala pang 1,000 kilometers nga to, eh. Of course, sana naayos na yung common complaint, which is medyo kalampagin nga yung pang-ilalim niya. Although that affected the first release models. Over the years, medyo na-improve. So, hopefully this one, mas matatag na yung bushings niya, kumbaga, tsaka yung mga engine support and etc. try before you buy, no? Whether brand new or second hand. And speaking of second hand, if you want to upgrade your Mirage to the newer look like this one, pwede nyo idaan sa amin through our Sell My Car program. Kami nang bahala para mabenta nyo yung old look Mirage nyo para maka-upgrade kayo dito sa mas bagong unit. Pero let's say, medyo namamahalan kayo sa bagong SRP ng Mirage G4. Is it worth getting a second-hand Mirage? Well, in some ways, yes. But if you're looking for a slightly faster car with more space, a bigger trunk, mga ganyan, perhaps you can consider some of its alternatives. Yun nga, as mentioned, Vios, City, Ciaz, yung mga yon. But kung pang point A to B na kotse hinahanap mo, the Mirage fits the bill. It does the job just fine. Kung gusto mong no-fuss motoring, pwede mo i-consider ang Mirage. Now, a second-hand Mirage would go for about 250,000 to about 300,000, 400,000 for a relatively young model. Siyempre, depende pa yan sa variant, sa mileage, and etc. But it's typically about half the price of this brand new GLS. At kung naghahanap kayo ng second-hand na Mirage G4, whether GLX or GLS, well, i-Automart na yan. Ito po si Anton Andres from Automart.ph. Stuck in traffic ngayon sa Katipunan. We hope you enjoyed this video and sana may napulot kayo mula sa video na to. So, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, i-like nyo kami sa Facebook at i-follow sa Twitter na din at Instagram. Thank you for watching.